face dead, our pain is still right with us. We need more strength. We need more men. Diamond Dogs needs to be bigger. Missions have come in too. We still have a long road ahead of us.
Welcome back, boss.
Talk.
Spit it out. Speak. Where are your friends? Spit it out.
Sun will set shortly. Development project. Please select a mission. Please specify a project.
Thank you, boss.
Please specify a project. Please landing zone.
Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Mission
Boss.
list updated.
You can now give the order to develop or dispose of nuclear weapons from your iDroid. With a nuclear deterrent, even if you're discovered while infiltrating a rival PF's FOB, most PFs won't dare retaliate. But you, of all people, know how dangerous it can be to have nuclear weapons. So will you add nukes to our arsenal as a deterrent? Or will you take them away from other PFs and dispose of them to help build a world that's free of nuclear weapons? I'll leave that decision up to you. Emmerich didn't go with depleted uranium for Sahelanthropus. Emmerich didn't go with depleted uranium for Sahelanthropus's armor because of its strength.
He had nukes in mind.
Exactly. It's meant to use its body as the fuel component for a nuclear weapon. Sahelanthropus uses built-in uranium enrichment Archaea to melt its own body and extract uranium-235 from the depleted uranium in its armor. Those Archaea perform the enrichment in an extremely short time. The concentration jumps by a factor of several hundred, from 0.2% to over 90%. The end result being highly enriched weapons-grade uranium. Sahelanthropus's body itself becomes a nuclear bomb. Emmerich says if it were to self-destruct, the nuclear yield would be somewhere in the region of 15 kilotons. Since you need about 50 kilograms of highly enriched uranium to trigger a nuclear reaction, that would mean Sahelanthropus contains something like 23 tons of depleted uranium.
That's not very much.
No, it isn't. That's about what you'd expect to find in a main battle tank's armor. The point is, it can be transported anywhere, even use its conventional weaponry on the battlefield, and the international community will never suspect a thing. I just received word from the R&D team and the transport team out of Afghanistan. They finished installing Sahelanthropus on the base. It's ours now.
All right. Don't let any of the staff touch that thing. Especially Emmerich.
Of course. That guy's crush on Sahelanthropus is beyond a joke. Guess he really wants to see his tech stand on its own two legs this time.
That's not gonna happen.
I know it. So you've got no plans to make it operational again?
Damn right.
Boss, I want to hear it straight from you.
Hear what?
What the hell do you want with that thing? The drive is busted. It's not like it has a nuke on board. Even if the metallic Archaea could turn it into a nuclear weapon, all it could do is self-destruct. Sahelanthropus just isn't a weapon anymore. It'll draw unwanted attention without even being a deterrent.
I know.
The weapon's development strut sank 2 feet under that thing's weight. That's 1 year's drop in a single night. We've started on reinforcing the strut, but there's no guarantee it'll hold up if a storm hits.
I know that too.
Boss, why keep it?
It's a mark. Us Diamond Dogs, we don't have a country to call home. That means we have no past, nothing to prove that we lived. Every one of us threw it all away when we came here. Sahelanthropus is a symbol to show that the likes of us brought at least one crisis to its end.
A mark in history. So we can't just fade away.
It's of no practical use to us. But we still need it.
A symbol of what we've done. I'm glad I sounded you out on this. Snake, on behalf of all of us, I want to thank you.
I don't need gratitude. I need security. Keep Emmerich away from that thing.
Roger that.
Code Talker. What are the metallic Archaea?
Volcanic craters spewing sulfur. Water hot enough to boil your skin off. Ocean depths of 800 plus atmospheres. Wastelands radioactive enough to kill you where you stand. There are groups of organisms that survive despite. No. Because of living in such environments.
I've heard about them. Extremo... something.
Extremophiles. By selecting certain species, then subculturing and repeatedly modifying them, I created a metallic offspring of pure Archaea. They subsist on metals rather than organic matter.
And some of them even consume uranium?
Yes. Uranium enrichment Archaea metabolize only uranium-235. As a result, they produce weapons-grade enriched uranium.
How is that possible?
Consider how plants fractionate carbon isotopes when they conduct photosynthesis. Nature possesses abilities beyond our imagination.
So it was Archaea that brought down your chopper?
Corrosive Archaea, yes. They oxidize metals, feeding off the energy in the electrons they receive. What became of the wreckage?
We had the R&D team retrieve samples for study, and Airtight plastic containers, of course.
Prudent. We shall extract Archaea from it in good time. They should help you fight back against Black Anna.
Any chance we could start now? It doesn't have to be a lot. I might just have another use for them.
If it's only a small amount you need.
That's fine. I'll get the R&D team to assist. Let's go.
South Africa was previously suspected of developing nuclear weapons. It already had a conspicuous presence at the UN because of apartheid and its armed expansionism. But when neighboring Angola and Mozambique became socialist countries in '74, South Africa felt hounded into a corner. So it accelerated its nuclear program to protect itself. 3 years later, the Soviets discovered a test facility, and 2 years after that, an American satellite observed a flash in the southern Indian Ocean. It said this was South Africa conducting a nuclear test with the help of a certain ally. Skullface used the situation in South Africa to get this ally to lend a hand. They both wanted nukes, so it was a mutually beneficial relationship. On the surface, anyway.
I figure South Africa started getting serious about nuclear weapons production in '75. In '74, the government was still able to get by with bluffing that it had a nuclear arsenal. But the year after, word spread that an independent armed group in the Caribbean was crushed by Cypher for possessing a WMD. That's right, boss. What happened to you and your men was the reason South Africa decided to push ahead with nuclear development. A force independent of any country getting its hands on a nuke. That was a threat to the existence of countries everywhere. It wasn't just South Africa. Your presence pushed a lot of countries to get nukes. The world was scared of you. You were a threat to more than just the Cold War. If nations are gears in a machine, you had the power to smash them loose and watch the whole world grind to a halt. You said that the nukes Skullface was trying to spread around the world were equipped with a failsafe. Something that could shut them down at will. His will.
Quite so. After all, he needed a guarantee that a buyer wouldn't simply turn the weapons back on him.
So how can they be stopped?
The criticality trigger, that is, the detonator, is a complete black box design. Any attempt to dismantle it causes it to melt in seconds, using the corroding Archaea. The design ensures that no detonation is possible unless it disengages the lock.
So he had a way to disengage it remotely.
Precisely. The client simply presses a button. At that moment, the detonator begins transmission with a surveillance satellite. The satellite reports to him how the client is trying to use the nuke. If he does not object, the lock is disengaged.
But if it's a risk to him in any way...
The detonator melts down. The same is true if detonation does not occur within a preset time after the lock is disengaged. The nuke is rendered useless.
Who the hell would buy something with strings attached like that?
The client would never know until the moment they actually try to use it. Most likely, he would have explained the time delay as the detonators needing time to activate. And he only intended to sell to technologically primitive groups in the first place.
Let me guess. He'd claim it was defective and offer a replacement. Shadier than a used car salesman.
Skullface shakes your hand like a friend, using the other to control you like a puppet. This is how he works.
Code Talker. Haven't seen you eat a single thing since you got here. Let me guess. Photosynthesis?
Oh? What makes you say that?
Well, a long time ago, I knew someone with a similar ability.
Well, you are correct. Most of my body is covered with parasites. I supply them with water, and in return, I receive sugars they produce when exposed to light. It isn't just my skin either. The parasites also act as my eyes. They have replaced many of my internal organs as well. It is thanks to them that I live on after over a century.
How did you obtain them anyway? Through your research?
I would like to say as much, but there is more to it than that. Let me take you back 20 years. I had hit a dead end with my parasite research. Then I was approached by a foundation. They said they had a sample of an unusual strain of parasite.
Which foundation?
Apparently, they had links to ARPA. But that is all I learned. I was somewhat ignorant of the ways of the world. Just being able to study it was enough for me.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Go on.
Half in doubt, I visited them to discover the body of an old man. Well, to be precise, his partial remains. A collection of parts, you could say. The man had died in an explosion.
An old man, you say?
His flesh had not decomposed. In fact, the tissue's cells were still metabolizing. The parasite had infected, or should I say assimilated with, the tissues, and was keeping them alive. I became obsessed with studying the body parts, foregoing food and even sleep. Every day was filled with new discoveries. The parasite's biology, internal anatomy, life cycle. But there was only so much I could learn through observation. And so I made a decision. To truly know the parasites, I had to live with them.
So, you implanted them inside you from the dead man's flesh?
Correct. It was quite a gamble, whether or not they would adapt to me. But fortunately, it appears I was compatible with them. Or perhaps, through my many years of research, my immune system learned to tolerate them.
Were they that body's only parasite?
Yes. However, there was a separate specimen that supplied its host with adrenaline in response to pain, and yet another that could control insects at will through secreting heterogeneous pheromones. I wanted exposure to them, to take them into me, but my wishes were denied. Their records, though, provided clues that helped advance my research. Would you care to join me? A life spent never worrying about food is a most wonderful one.
I think I'll pass. But thanks. This has been helpful.
Skullface has finally burned out. The world is rid of his existence at last.
Was he still alive?
You could say that. But you could also say he'd been dead for decades.
What's that supposed to mean?
Biologically speaking, it's hard to say how much was his life.
Side effects from the treatment?
No, the primary effect. Keeping a dying host alive as long as possible. That is the whole point. But in the end, he grew too dependent on his children. As if he had any other way to keep on living. He first underwent parasite therapy before the Soviet Union became his home. His body was horribly burned. Fire washed across his thin young frame and stole his skin and his throat, even his lungs. Only through repeated therapies could the parasites keep him alive. Most of his life became something the parasites gave to him.
And then he lost the ability to die.
That is correct. The parasites live on past the host's death, still aiding cell composition. At that stage, there is no way to extract them from the host cells. There is no way of knowing when the last cell of Skullface's body would die. The only choice was to burn the whole thing. And his children, along with it. And I am one to talk. When my life is snuffed out, I expect you to treat my body the same way. And when I burn, I will truly be one with my children for the first time. You say there were 3 English vocal parasites?
According to Skullface, yeah.
Skullface had 2 of the English strain with him. You burned both of them.
There was an oil fire. I tossed him in.
So that just leaves 1. And you tell me Skullface said he used it.
He said it was very close to me.
Very close. One of your comrades. Or someone ordered to kill you. Or he could have been speaking metaphorically.
Metaphorically?
Close to your spirit. Close to your heart. Someone who either loves you or despises you.
The second one makes a long list.
Whichever it is, act with caution. Skullface implanted someone with the English language strain. Who it is irrelevant.
Why?
I tell you what Skullface really meant. Very close to you means you will be exposed. All the infected here have been given the Wolbachia. Even if the vocal cord parasites infect them now, they cannot reproduce. But if there's a different host among us, host to the English strain.
If that were the case, we'd see the symptoms.
What about the non-English speakers?
We have plenty of those, but the staff use English as a common language.
But if that someone has not spoken English yet, and begins to speak it now,
there'd be another outbreak.
The final mating pair of the English strain must be found immediately. Skullface is gone, but his threat still remains. On this base, do you see what the final mating pair is? With him dead, those parasites are the stain he wished to leave upon the world. His thirst for vengeance. In the flesh. Think. Does anyone here bear a grudge against you? Who would target you, specifically?
The ethnic cleansers that Code Talker mentioned, they weren't Skullface's true goal. All we have is circumstantial evidence, but here's my theory. It was Cypher who started developing the vocal cord parasites as bioweapons, parasitic weapons, and Africa was the testing ground for them. As Code Talker said, their purpose is the ethnic cleansing of only those who speak a particular language. So they could do a weapon of mass destruction to eradicate specific groups, races, ethnicities, or colonies by the language they speak. Or a kind of absolute language control. Or maybe a tool for those arrogant fools to build some misguided utopia. I can see plenty of uses for them. However, in practical terms, they wouldn't be as dangerous as you'd think. Counteracting the parasites is easy, after all. Cut them out of your throat to save your life, or just don't talk. That also prevents the infection from spreading. So if the international community were to find out about them, they'd no longer be the threat they were conceived to be. In which case, their targets would be limited to minority groups as a deterrent or a terrorist tool. It's hard to imagine Cypher developing something like that as a main weapon for their arsenal. That leads me to think we've only tugged on one little thread in Cypher's grand tapestry. An obscure corner of their work, possibly forgotten altogether. In any case, things changed. When Skullface was forced to relocate to Africa and he saw that thread dangling. All the time he continued that research, he was secretly following his own agenda. The ethnic liberator parasites. His English language strain. Skullface said there were only 3 samples of the English language strain parasite, and I think we can believe him. Bringing his ethnic liberator's plan to fruition depended on creating an English version of the vocal cord parasites at all costs. But an English strain would have been useless to Cypher. Worse, it could have destroyed everything they'd built. It was the one type they couldn't allow. That means Skullface was forced to develop his English strain out of sight of Cypher's network. Naturally, he couldn't use the greenhouse facility Cypher had set up and filled with guinea pigs. Skullface must have found some secret place to create his precious few English parasites, hiding all evidence like a man cheating on his wife. Somewhere, an entirely standalone environment. And when his plan entered its final phase, he must have made the place disappear. Some little room, could be anywhere, but now nowhere at all. We'll never know where he did it, but to elude Cypher's surveillance, it couldn't have been big. I believe Skullface was telling the truth. There were only ever 3 samples of the English language strain. Why activate Sahelanthropus in Afghanistan? This is how Skullface wanted things to play out. The Soviet Union secretly develops a new type of nuclear weapon and successfully deploys it in Afghanistan. Revealing the existence of Sahelanthropus results in a return to the glory days of the Cold War. The threat it poses reignites the nuclear arms race between the world's major powers. The demand for nuclear weapons increases around the globe. What if you then introduced a nuclear weapon anyone could get their hands on? Non-nuclear nations, militant groups of all shapes and sizes, they'd all jump at the chance. Sahelanthropus was a marketing tool to sell nukes all around the world. But I think it's safe to say that plan was stamped out before it got up and running. The world's intelligence agencies never did turn up anything conclusive on it. After all, Sahelanthropus vanished before word could spread. Everything that's happened is already a fading memory, never to join the pages of history. Except for Cypher. Cypher won't forget. They'll already be working on something quiet beneath the surface. They'll use the pieces of data scraped together from this incident to build their own bipedal weapon. It'll take them a long time to complete it, but for now, the greed sector have found their new life's work. We'll have to be ready too.
Mission accepted. Heading to Afghanistan.
extract the missing CIA agent. The target was laying low with the friendly Mujahideen during the vocal cord parasites incident, but may have headed back to OKB-0 after the Soviets recaptured it. Check the target's VI on your iDroid.
Please select a deployment point. Infiltrated out. The map has been updated.
Boss, you need to extract the target alive. He might be able to tell us about what went on at OKB-0. Keep in mind that time doesn't stop while you use the iDroid. You can even move around while using it, but pay attention to your surroundings. Extract the target alive. He might be able to tell us about what went on at OKB-0.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete. The map has been updated. Extraction arrived at Mother Base. Please select a deployment point.
Where are your friends? Spit it out. Speak. Hands up.
Нет, не делай этого!
Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated. Analysis complete.
Help me! Somebody!
Fire at will.
Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated.
Speak. Spit it out.
Analysis complete.
Fire. Where are your friends? Spit it out. Talk.
Development complete.
Boss, that's a serious injury. It won't heal on its own. You'll need to treat it with first aid.
Map has been updated.
That takes care of the squad searching for the target. Now you just need to extract him.
Please landing speed.
Roger.
Support helicopter requested.
B Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B Quad. On station at LZ.
Target extracted. Exfiltrate the hot zone, boss.
Mission
Gaining altitude. Warning.
Flawless work.
extraction
You never cease to
arriving
amaze,
at
boss.
Base.
All right, mission complete, boss. Maybe you'll actually break a sweat next time, huh? Boss, come on back to base. There's been an accident in the boys' quarters. A pile of steel pipes gave way and crushed one of the kids. The boy named Ralph. They tell me he died instantly. I'm sorry, boss. It's my fault. I should have been keeping an eye on them. I'll let you know if we learn something.
Please landing zone.
Roger.
This is B Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
grasping for a fleeting memory. All the thoughts keep piercing this broken mind. I fall, but I'm still standing.
Please select a mission.
Far in the distance, there is light, a light that burns these scars of old.
Mission accepted.
Reminds me
Heading to Afghanistan.
of what I am. I'll live, I'll become.
Disable the Soviets' reinforcement system by putting a hole in their base-to-base comms network. Head for the Eastern Communications Post and destroy its comms equipment. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Поймал его! На, Вячеслав! Отступай!
Outpost Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Хочу проверить, за мной! Понял? А! Эй, смотри!
Made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
You have arrived at your destination.
Забудь, не померещилось!
Development complete. Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated.
Что?
Development complete.
Контакт! Boss, what happened? Boss!
Enter the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid.
Development complete.
Контакт! Огонь! Огонь!
You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Контакт!
Where are your friends? Spit it out. Speak.
Map has been updated.
Snake, are you okay? Snake!
Enter the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid. You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
You have arrived at your destination.
Контакт!
Всем боевым группам, это кафе! Боевые позиции! Всем подразделениям!
Открыть огонь! Дайте защитный огонь! Огонь! Откройте меня! Открыть огонь!
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake?
Enter the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid.
Прошу поддержку!
КП, это 2-4! Неизвестные выстрелы! Откуда сказать не могу! Прием! Это КП, понял. Всем подразделениям. У нас могут быть нарушители. Конец связи.
You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Analysis complete.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake?
Head for the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid. You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility.
Where are your friends? Spit it out.
The map has been updated. Sun will rise momentarily.
Говоришь, ты жил на Украине? Да, когда был еще ребенком. А что? Моего двоюродного брата собираются отправить в одно из армий. Он не сказал мне, какой именно, но это где-то в Украине. Он очень талантливый, намного умнее меня. В институте он изучал ядерные технологии. Честно, я теперь ему завидую. Я вот каждый день сижу и жду. Каждый шмат режет город. Думаешь, у него все сложится? Слышал все эти слухи из города. Течки, радиация. Я только вчера поднес ядерное оружие.
Всем боевым группам, это кафе. Мы вступили с вас с противником. Все боевые единицы приготовились к бою.
kidding around. Snake?
Enter the Eastern Communications Post and destroy the target equipment. Its location is on your iDroid. You made it. First, use the binoculars to locate the communications equipment at the facility. On your tail first. All right, the coast is clear. Mission complete. Mission complete. Great work. Emmerich's finished development on that battle gear of his. Get back to Mother Base. The battle gear. Boss, we need evidence to prove our suspicions about Emmerich. Head to the central base camp in Afghanistan and recover that AI pod. It's time we purge Diamond Dogs of that traitorous parasite once and for all.
Landing zone confirmed.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Please select a landing zone.
Roger.
This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
evidence to prove our suspicions about Emmerich. Head to the central base camp in Afghanistan and recover that AI pod. It's time we purge Diamond Dogs of that traitorous parasite once and for all.
Mission accepted. Heading to Afghanistan.
Your objective is to eliminate as many enemy combat vehicles as you can. For this mission, we're backup for the guerrillas' offensive. That means our mission isn't over until theirs is. Keep an eye on the remaining time. Also bear in take out a single vehicle. As for payment, the more vehicles, the bigger our paycheck. So give them a real fireworks show. Check the target's locations on your map. Once you've spotted incoming reinforcements, their location will be added to your iDroid too.
Be careful down there, boss.
Dispatch requested. Buddy departing area of operations.
Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent a predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. To eliminate as many enemy combat vehicles as possible before the guerrillas' offensive ends. Check your iDroid for the target's locations.
Whoa! Whoa!
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
targets. Check your iDroid for that predicted route.
Snake! Talk to me! Snake!
In this mission, we're back up for the guerrillas' offensive operation. Take out the incoming Soviet combat vehicles. Each one you eliminate will contribute to our reward. However, you'll fail the mission if you don't take out any at all. Boss, each vehicle is a piggy bank just waiting to be smashed. Get as many as you can.
Please select a drop point. Dispatch requested.
team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Boss, come in. Boss?
In this mission, we're back up for the guerrillas' offensive operation. Take out the incoming Soviet combat vehicles. Each one you eliminate will contribute to our reward.
Please select
However,
a strike point.
you'll fail the mission if you don't take out any at all. Boss, each vehicle is a piggy bank just waiting to be smashed. Get as many as you can.
Area of operations. Strike will commence shortly. Please select a strike point. Buddy has arrived. Strike requested. Enemy creep detected. Strike will commence shortly.
Target eliminated. Great. Now on to the next. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Enemy creep detected. The map has been updated.
Target elimination confirmed. Got any more in you? Boss, we spotted a four-wheel drive transporting a prisoner. It's not part of the mission. Do you think you can bust him loose? Just if you have the time to spare.
The map has been updated.
Boss, you're doing great. Plenty of targets eliminated. Just the pace I'd expect. All right, boss. You've got other targets closing in. You can check their predicted route on your iDroid.
The map has been updated.
targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map. Boss, need a little extra firepower? We spotted a Soviet weapons transport truck. Apparently, boss, that's incredible. You're taking them out faster than they can come in. The guerrillas' operation is going smoothly, too. Keep it up.
Supply drop complete.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Нет, не делай этого!
Talk. Where are your friends?
Всем боевым группам! Это КП! Боевые посты! Все подразделения! По боевым постам!
Taking out the remaining targets. Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
The map has been updated. Please select a strike point.
The guerrillas' offensive will be ending soon.
Начинаю поиск!
Boss, there's still time left. Take out as many vehicles as you can.
Далеко! Будьте бдительны! Конец связи! Штаб! Штаб! Это КП! Возобновился огонь! Открыли огонь в ответ! Но потеряли врага! Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости! Соблюдайте осторожность!
Will
Прием!
commence shortly. Please select a strike point. Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly. Please select a strike point. Strike requested. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Strike will commence shortly. Please select a strike point.
КП-то 239! Атакуем с неизвестной позиции!
3 minutes remaining.
Enemy presence detected.
Это КП! Понял!
Strike
Будьте начеку!
requested.
Выкройте врага! Конец связи!
presence detected. Strike will commence shortly. Please select a strike point. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Атакуем с неизвестной позиции! Прием!
Strike
СКП,
requested.
понял. Будьте начеку. Выкройте врага. Конец связи.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Only 2 minutes remaining. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nice work, boss. The targets are almost history.
Отправить резервную помощь. Повторяю, отправить помощь. Конец связи.
One target left. The enemy reinforcements have stopped. No targets remaining. Boss, exfiltrate the hot zone. You've made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Mission complete. Phew, at least you made it out in one piece.
Please select a mission. Marker placed.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Прием! СКП, понял. Обследуйте сектор. Но осторожно. Конец связи.
Please select a strike point. Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly.
СКП, это Сой-1. Противник ушел из вида.
Please strike requested.
AI pod launch confirmed. We'll pick it up. I wonder what kind of secrets are buried in it. I'll let you know if we learn something. Got a report from the intel team. Remember how the man on fire was crushed by Sahelanthropus? Well, the Soviets recovered his body. Could he breathe? The Yaha Ovu supply outpost and secured a man on fire's body. If Skullface was right, every demon will keep the dead alive. This man on fire who's been coming after us ever since he woke up, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgan.
Всем боевым группам! СКП! Вступили с вас противника! Всем боевым единицам! Приготовиться к бою!
Please select a mission. Please select a strike point. Strike requested.
СКП, понял! Всем к постам! Срочно пришлите подкрепление! Конец
Please
связи!
select support helicopter requested.
Сой-1. Потерял противника из вида. Ищу последние точки соприкосновения. Прием! СКП, понял. Будьте начеку и найдите противника. Конец связи.
This is Pequod. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Противник ушел из виду. Собираемся обыскать местность. Прием!
This is Pequod. On station at LZ.
Не позволяйте им уходить с фланга. Конец связи. Штаб, СКП. Понадобился огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ. Но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Прием!
Gaining altitude. Departing.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base. deployment dispatch requested. Clouds approaching.
Понял. На нас напали. Всем подразделениям. Боевую готовность. Конец связи. СО-1, это КП. Доложите ситуацию. Прием. Вы меня слышите? Прием. Всем боевым группам, это КП. У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам. СО-1, это КП. Доложите ситуацию. Прием. Вы меня слышите? Прием. Всем боевым группам, это КП. У нас проблема. Тревога по всем постам. КП, это ЗОИ-2. Атакуют с неизвестной позиции. Прием. Это КП, понял. Будьте начеку. Выкурите врага. Конец связи.
Fire at will.
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid.
Development project has been added. Please select landing zone.
Roger.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ.
Please select a mission.
This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Mission list updated. Please select a mission. Mission accept heading to Central Africa.
This contract comes from the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola, also known as the MPLA. The PF at Ditadi Abandoned Village has been supplied with walker gears. Your job is to eliminate them all. Destroy them, extract them, whatever you see fit. This just might get us closer to the walker gear supplier, Cypher. Good luck, boss.
The map has been updated. Supplies requested. Please select a mission. Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched.
The targets have been deployed to that outpost. Find and eliminate all of them.
Analysis complete.
Where are your friends? Spit it out.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Mission failed, boss!
The PF at Ditati Abandoned Village has been supplied with walker gears. Your job is to eliminate them all. Destroy them, extract them. The targets have been deployed to that outpost. Find and eliminate all of them.
Supply drop. Please select a strike point. Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly.
Another one down. Target destroyed. Excellent work. Keep it up.
Please select a strike point. Strike requested.
Boss, get down. The enemy sniper. Stay low and crawl along the ground. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
Strike will commence shortly.
Target eliminated. Great. Now on to the next.
Please select a strike point.
Nice work.
Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly.
What the hell, boss? Why did you kill him?
Prisoner has died. Please select a strike point. Strike requested. Strike will commence shortly. Please select a strike point. Strike requested.
uit.
Strike will commence shortly.
Ik zal gevallen, maar kan niet die vijand zien. Onder! De CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. Race de vijand uit. Uit! CFD Delta 6. Onder aanval. Geen teken van die vijand niet. Over. De CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. Race de vijand uit. Uit!
Please select a strike point.
Strike
requested.
Hoe zit het hem slapen hier? Over! De CFD begrijpt. Vast defensieve posities en zoek die sniper. Uit!
Strike will commence shortly.
CFD Delta 3. Ik zal gevallen, maar kan niet die vijand zien. Over. De CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. Race die vijand uit. Uit!
Please select a strike point. Strike requested.
CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. Race die vijand uit. Uit!
Strike will commence shortly.
CFD Delta 3. Ik zal gevallen, maar kan niet die vijand zien. Over. De CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. Race die vijand uit. Uit! CFD Delta 2. Geen teken van die vijand. Ons staakjes zoekt nog. Over. De CFD begrijpt. Wees paraat. Wanneer lemping hygiënie. Uit!
Clouds approaching.
CFD, dit is routine. Hoe zit het hem slapen hier? Over. De CFD begrijpt. Vind die vijand sniper in. Pas hem uit.
Vijandige contact! Damn it! Mission's a failure.
The PF at Ditati Abandoned Village has been supplied with walker
Please
gears.
select a strike
Your job
point.
is to eliminate them all.
Strike
Destroy them,
requested.
extract them, whatever you see fit. Good luck, boss.
Please select a support helicopter requested. Please select a deploy. Strike will commence shortly.
Target destroyed. Excellent work. Keep it up.
Please select a strike point.
Flawless work.
Approaching position. In dit geval uit die punten. Geen teken van die vijand. Over. De CFD begrijpt. Wees waakzaam in. I have arrived at marker. Cover fire. In hot. Rocket salvo. Rocket salvo.
Target great. No targets remaining. Your objective's complete. Exfiltrate out of the hot zone by chopper or on land.
In hot. Watch out, boss. This box on in. Ready for your night. Right.
B-Quad. No targets remaining. Ending attack run and we'll stand by at LZ. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at LZ. We'll stand by.
That's it. Made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Yes, mission complete. Boss, that was exceptional. Prolonged time in the field is bad for the body and mind. I think it's time you took a break. Do it for me. Come back to Mother Base ASAP. Boss, about that AI pod you retrieved from Emmerich's research facility. Guess what we found inside? A corpse. Human.
This is
The pod maintained a low internal temperature the whole time, and very little outside air got in. That would have slowed down decomposition. Still, the remains were mostly skeletal. Estimated time of death is between 6 months and a year ago. We put the screws to Huey about it. Listen to the tape. Turns out it was the body of someone we knew very well.
Gaining altitude.
Fine. Yes, Strangelove was doing AI research in that lab.
Why hide that until now?
Okay, so what? I wasn't working alone. You've got to understand. You do understand, right? I didn't want to drag her into this. It's my load to bear, alone.
So you didn't create the AI intended to drive Sahelanthropus. It was Strangelove.
Skullface was never in favor of AI control. So naturally they argued. Strangelove, she got him angry and he killed her.
How? You didn't see it? So you found her inside that pod after the fact. And you just left her body to rot in there. Or perhaps you put her in there afterward.
I asked him not to take her away from me.
So she was killed by Skullface, but you asked nicely, and he put her body in the AI pod for you?
That's right.
Pathetic. You know, we have another idea. That you killed her.
What, me? I couldn't kill her.
You killed her and locked her body in the pod.
I wouldn't. Don't treat me like one of you. I can't just kill anyone whenever I feel like it. I'm a normal human being.
Oh, I see. So you just shut her inside and waited for her to die?
I would never do that.
What, you mean she killed herself?
Yes. She climbed inside that pod and shut the door. It can't be opened from the outside. It was suicide. Suicide, I said. She killed herself. She got in when I wasn't looking and suffocated. She'd often try to do things like that. By the time I realized and opened the door, she wasn't breathing. I got scared and shut the pod again. I couldn't bring myself to open it back up. That's right. Me? Kill her? What is wrong with you?
I see. Just tell me one more thing.
Haven't you gotten enough today?
Okay, I see it's a painful memory. You don't have to answer, just listen to the question. You see, we examined her remains. She had a scar on her lower abdomen, a surgical scar. It had been stitched up and had fully healed, meaning it was long before her death. She had a child, didn't she? Your child. Where's the kid?
How should I know?
So there is a child.
I've never seen his face.
What do you take us for?
They took it all. Even my child. I didn't even know he'd been born. I lost everything.
How old would he be?
It's 4 years since then.
And you know it's a boy.
Strangelove said so.
And his name?
We called him Hal, even though I never saw his face.
You mentioned that the man on fire was crushed under Sahelanthropus in its hangar.
Yeah. He was caught under the wheels of its transport platform.
But his body wasn't found.
What?
We searched the area the moment we arrived, but there was no trace of him.
I wasn't hallucinating.
I know. I trust you on that. That means someone must have taken the body. But when I got there, everything was still as it was. Even Skullface hadn't been touched. I can't see a reason to sneak into a place like that and drag out the biggest, heaviest guy there.
What are you getting at?
The only option left is... he got up and walked away.
That platform ran him over.
Just ran him over.
You're saying that's not enough?
I don't want to believe it, but maybe not. He shrugs off bullets, even rocket strikes. There's no reason to think that would finish him. It seems ridiculous, but I'll start gathering eyewitness accounts just in case.
If you dig up anything concrete, I want to know.
You'll be the first, if I dig anything up. But I hope to hell I don't.
No kidding.
Volgin, the GRU colonel, was burned alive with the Shagohod during Operation Snake Eater 20 years ago. Despite suffering severe burns to his entire body, he still clung to life. After you left Seleniarsk, Volgin's body was taken to a research institute in the outskirts of Moscow, but modern medicine couldn't explain why he was still alive. Not that the colonel was any ordinary man to begin with. That constant electric current he had running through his body that he could unleash at will. To be honest, I was always uncomfortable around him. Thought I might get electrocuted just by standing nearby. The institute studying him was tasked with investigating and developing human paranormal abilities. The comatose Volgin was used to further the Soviet Union's research into such abilities. But not long ago, the facility burned to the ground. And Volgin's body was never found among the rubble, even though the fire started in the room where they were keeping him. This occurred at around the same time you woke up. If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge can turn a man into a demon and keep the dead alive, then this man on fire who's been coming after us ever since you woke up, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgin. It's not over yet. Back in '64, in Seleniuarsk, you brought his plans for a utopia down in flames. That grudge is what's keeping him alive. The day the research facility holding Volgin burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger jet happened to crash nearby, far away to the north of that hospital in Cyprus. On board the plane was a young boy who was being studied at the same facility. The plane fell to Earth from over 8,000 feet, but the boy's body was the only one not recovered. At almost exactly the same time as the crash, Volgin awoke in that facility. According to the Research Institute's documents, the gifts this boy demonstrated included psychokinesis and telepathy. To protect his mind from being inundated with other people's thoughts, he always wore a kind of gas mask. A rudimentary form of psychic insulation, apparently. We don't know where this boy is, but if Skullface is connected to him, we may cross paths with him yet. This boy is part of a new age, where nothing we understand about the world makes sense anymore. Don't let your guard down. So what were they doing at Nzoya Badia, Baloo? That facility with all the people laid out in rows.
The abandoned factory Shabani was held in.
It is precisely as you guessed. Black Anna was coding languages into the vocal cord parasites. They infected the subjects with the parasites, then made an incision in the throat to expose the vocal cords. That allowed them to play recordings of a desired language directly to the parasites.
And the parasites learn the languages that way. That's some teaching method. I just don't get how a bunch of bugs had the brain power for it.
They don't. Do not judge them by human standards. They do not learn as a function of intellect.
Then how do they do it?
What language the parasites react to is coded into their genes. You could expose the Japanese strain to English for years, and it would never learn the language and react to it. The pronunciation, rhythm, and structure are different. But what about, say, Spanish and Portuguese? Linguistically, the two are very close.
Yeah, they're both Ibero-Romance languages.
Even so, a Spanish language mating pair exposed to Portuguese will not copulate. Only when they hear Spanish. Only then. And the majority of their offspring will be the same.
So it's a literal case of a mother tongue.
But if that's so, I don't see how the different strains can be created in the first place.
Well, among the many thousands of offspring, there may be just a few that react to Portuguese.
You're talking about mutations.
Correct. Playing the tapes helps to identify the mutant strains. Those specimens are then isolated and bred with one another. From their children, specimens that react more strongly to Portuguese can again be selected and bred. Repeating this process creates a strain that reacts solely to Portuguese and never to Spanish. Mutation and selection. No different to breeding roses.
So you kept increasing the change over the generations, adapting them to languages from all over the world. It must have taken a hell of a lot of patience.
More like patience. Just how many died for this?
There's something I still don't get. In order to tell which larvae will react to Portuguese, you'd have to let them develop and then see which copulate. That means you'd need tens of thousands of guinea pigs. There's no way you could do that in a facility that small.
For normal selective breeding methods, you would be right. But there is a more effective selection method when training the vocal cord parasites.
Go on.
It is not only when mating that the parasites listen for language. Shortly before hatching, larvae display markedly increased activity in reaction to particular language. The active eggs can be identified under a black light, so the eggs that react to Portuguese are selectively placed in the throats of subjects. So you see, narrowing down strains that react to the target language is an effective process. Though I'm sure that even so, many lost their lives to create the various strains.
Taken against their will into that dungeon.
There are two reasons for playing the tapes for the parasites. One, to isolate the eggs that respond to the target language. And two, to cause the specimens raised from the selected eggs to mate.
I get how the system works. But why do they respond to language before they even hatch? It's not like they can mate from inside an egg.
It is because the larvae learn the language before hatching.
You mentioned that what language the parasites respond to is hard-coded into their genes, and that they don't have the brain power to actually learn a language. But then you say that the larvae at Nzoia Badia Bulu were learning the languages in the egg. Your story doesn't add up.
Your country is home to a unique songbird. The Japanese bush warbler.
Sure, what of it?
What a beautiful call it has. But no bush warbler can sing it perfectly at the start. As chicks, they can barely chirp at all. They must learn from their parents and other adult birds. Only then can they sing properly and attract females. So naturally, there are individual differences in each bird's call. Though they start on the same footing, each bird is influenced by its teachers.
And the parasites are the same?
Like the birds, the parasites have a genetic predisposition towards a particular language. But while in the egg, the larvae's ears are tweaked by listening to the voice of the host. This tweaking ensures that the grown parasites will react better to the host's speech pattern.
Why would they have an ability like that?
Well, there are distinct regional differences within even the same language. Rare is the language that has no unique dialects. Yes, learning the host's speech pattern before hatching attunes the larvae to whatever twist of pronunciation it will encounter. This adaptive ability is what makes them so formidable.
I see. So a language requires selective breeding, but the parasites can learn dialects by themselves.
Of course, having the egg-stage larvae listen to the tapes in the factory was not meant to teach them. It was more important to use that trait of theirs to identify the mutated strains. As I mentioned earlier.
Is that really accurate enough to use as a weapon? You could wipe out a neighboring ethnic group by accident if their pronunciation is too close.
What you say is true. In that sense, they are imperfect as ethnic cleansers. But for his purposes, they are good enough. His objective was not to exterminate any one ethnic group, but to render the world's lingua franca, English, inert.
Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Select unit. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Select unit. Select unit. Staff dismissed. Development project has been added.